couldn't
This eye.
see me. He couldn't. Yeah.
He doesn't see out of this eye, so if you stand on this side of him, he can't see you. He can hear you. And he is
6:30 on these.
still know who you are.
Ready,
and
Michelle?
talk to you.
But I'd like to welcome you to the Riverdale City Planning Commission meeting for Tuesday, July 12th, 2022. I'd like to show all the commissioners are present with the exception of Commissioner Eskelson and Commissioner Spires, who are excused. Is anybody here for public comment, or are you guys here for agenda items? Agenda? We'll go ahead and skip over that then. Presentations and reports. Mr. Eggett.
Thank you. I'll try to do this a little quicker than I did in work session. Take 5 is moving forward, coming up out of the ground. They're right up there on the edge of the city by where the old Cafe Rio site was in South Ogden. Now I'm running a blank. Cheddar's. Cheddar's is still delayed as a result of what we still think is the Lowe's agreement trying to happen. So hopefully that will be forthcoming resolved. Chick-fil-A is planned to close on the 22nd, and they will be closed for a period of 3 to 4 months. So they probably won't be opening again until right around the holidays, but it'll be a pretty major overhaul for them. So we do have confirmation that that's moving forward. They came and got their building permit, and they're moving forward on that site. And the West Bench participation agreement and development agreement with Mr. Heap and his partner Paul Willie has been approved by the City Council. So we anticipate them coming back with a project for a recommendation review at a later date in the future. And the Bach Homes development agreement was also, or I guess the Second Amendment to the development agreement was also approved for the property south of City Hall in 68 acres. So we'll see where that goes now that that has been approved. And then I did receive today, so in 2 weeks I will bring forward the townhomes project again for a recommendation review by the Planning Commission. I didn't note that in the last meeting, but I did receive that today, so that will be forthcoming. So a couple of things definitely happening, and there's other things that will be percolating their way through. So, and then also I did note that the Truth in Taxation hearing with the City Council will be held on April 16th. That will be a public hearing at that night and potential consideration of that. So just for those of you who weren't at the meet earlier in the work session, we did talk about that as well. So if you have other questions or you get questions from the public asking about that and you don't know you have the answer, feel free to call me, call Michelle, or call Steve Brooks, and we can help you with the information so you can make sure to communicate that to the public if they have inquiries. Sometimes I know you get hit up coldly, and it's good to know what's going on. So that's all I have.
All right, Mr. Eggett, thank you. Consent items, consideration of meeting minutes from June 28th. Do any commissioners have any changes? If not, a motion is in order.
I move that we approve the consent items.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, action items. Action item 1, consideration of conditional use permit request for new shared shopping center sign use located at approximately 5091 South, 1050 West, as requested by Yesco LLC. Mr. Eggett.
Thank you. I need to be on. There we go. Thank you. As discussed in the work session and is found in the packet, Yesco is the applicant on behalf of the owners of the Family Center at Riverdale, which is the CCA group. The ownership being Alex Uzdan and Steve Uzdan in this case, or Steven. He likes to go by Steven. The representative for Yesco is Jeff Krantz, who's in attendance tonight. This is for a shopping center sign pylon display at the corner down of basically where 1050 West meets up with Highway 84, Interstate 84 on the Target shopping center sites. It's kind of on that end where there's really nothing developed. They would do a pedestal, pole sign would be mounted in the pedestal, and then it would be raised up to, I believe, the maximum height of 60 feet, which we allow. Do you know Mr. Kranz? Oh, no, not even. So it looks like 54, about 50, 53, 54 feet. So that's good because the maximum we allow would be 60 with conditional use approval. At any rate, you'll see in the packet the design element and the concepts for that. Per our city code update, the city council needs to approve that as part of the development plan for a project area that's a shared commercial center like the Target Center is. And so the planning commission as a reviewing body would approve and then recommend to the city council their thoughts relative to the conditional use permit request this evening. And so with that, you'll see the application in the packet and an explanation or showing of the signage and the technical aspects of the signage that is being proposed at that site. And I would defer to the Planning Commission. You have any questions for me and or Mr. Kranz at that point? Thank you.
Do any of the commissioners have any discussion? If not, a motion is in order.
I'll make a motion that we forward a favorable recommendation to the city council for the conditional use permit for the new shared shopping shop.
Approve and recommend. So.
Approve and recommend.
Yeah, could you do the wording approve and recommend?
I will amend that so that we approve and recommend a favorable action to the city council for the conditional use permit request for the new shared shopping center sign located at approximately 5091 South, 1050 West, as requested by Yesco Signs.
Second.
Michelle, will you pull the commission?
Commissioner Nye,
Aye.
Commissioner Wingfield,
Aye.
Commissioner Herman,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Anderson.
Aye.
Motion passes. Action item number 2, review and discussion of adjusted proposed roadway vacation benefits for rights-of-way areas along Cozydale Drive, 1500 West between 4800 South and 4400 South, as requested by America First Federal Credit Union and AWA Engineering. Mr. Eggett.
Thank you. Again, as was discussed in the work session briefly and is found in your packet, you'll see the vacation plat. It's the second page tied to this item. The addition or the change is specifically the 4800 South street. It is requested to be vacated as part of the overall project for America First and their campus change there. And connected into the already, I guess, recommended for approval, Cozydale Drive vacation and surrounding road. So it's just adding that road, but by policy and by state code, it does still need to go through the same process of the others. And so this would replace the old vacation plat, obviously, or at least the old vacation plat review, and we would need to set a public hearing for it because of the public right-of-way use that it currently benefits the city with. Obviously, as noted, the roundabout that would then later be installed as part of the future dedication plat, which we're also going to be discussing tonight, will have a new road connector to Old 4800 and create new 4800 South Street to access the power substation and the other properties off of that street. But we have to do a vacation and then a new dedication in order for it to be clean and recorded to meet state standards. So with that, given that we won't have a meeting on the 26th of this month, the next available date to set a potential public hearing would be August 9th at the Planning Commission meeting that evening. So with that, I would defer to the council, however you want to proceed.
Mr. Eggett, thank you. Action item 2B.
I meant Planning Commission.
Planning
I said
Commission, yeah,
council.
yeah.
I meant Planning Commission.
All right, consideration to set public hearing for adjusted proposed roadway vacation petition for rights-of-way areas along Cozydale Drive, 1500 West, between 4800 South and 4400 South, as requested by America First Federal Credit Union and AWA Engineering. Discussion by the commission or a motion is in order.
I move that we forward to the, that we set a public hearing for the adjustment proposed roadway vacation for rights of way areas of the Cozydale Drive, 1500 West between 4800 South and 4400 South, as requested by America First Credit Union and AWA Engineering. Set that public hearing for August the 9th.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Michelle, would you pull the commission?
Commissioner Wingfield,
Aye.
Commissioner Herman,
Aye.
Commissioner Nye,
Aye.
Commissioner Anderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
All right. Action item 3, consideration to approve changes to and recommend city council approval of the AFCU corporate campus subdivision property located at approximately 4624 South, 1500 West, Cozydale Drive, Riverdale, Utah, 84405, as requested by America First Federal Credit Union and AWA Engineering. Mr. Eggett.
Thank you. And we have present tonight Natalie Nichols and Tim Snyderman. See, I did that really good tonight. representing AFCU and AWA Engineering, respectively. This is basically an update or modification to the previous subdivision plat that was brought to the Planning Commission a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago, on May 24th. So I guess it's a little over a month ago. At the end of that review, there was a final recommendation approval from the Planning Commission to the City Council for approval of it. Technically, where this is an amendment to the previous plat, the Planning Commission would be expected to approve and, again, make a recommendation to the City Council, however you see fit. Were you wanting to approve it? I guess I'm not saying you have to approve it, but were you approving the change? That's what would need to happen. With that, the general plan usage for the area special use district light industrial business park and the proposed project does comply with that. I did notice one very, very minor thing, a property owner's name, just the word union was misspelled. So very, very minor. I did notice that. Everything else looks fine. And obviously on the final plat, when we record it, we'll drop Cozydale Drive so that we eliminate all instances of that from the final plat. Even in the legal description, if there's Cozydale Drive, let's try to eliminate probably for the final version. That'll be easy. Then it's gone. It's a new street, not Cozydale Drive. We'll clear that up. So that would be the only two comments I have. Looking at the other comments, nothing from Mr. Douglas, nothing from the police chief or fire marshal. The city engineer just had five very basic comments. He just said storm drain sewer easement is shown on the east side of the property but does not appear to be completed, and then he gives some direction on that. Dates on the titles on each sheet should be current and match the cover sheet. And then actually going to the vacation plat, so I guess these three comments are tied to the last item, but he did say that dates on the title should have the current month. Total area being vacated shown pointing to Cozydale Drive shows a number, and the description shows a different number, so they're not matching, they should be matching. And then same again, total area being vacated says 399,000 square feet and change, much more than what Riverdale City is getting, which is just a commentary from him, but he's just pointing out the numerical information. So it's neither here nor there, and I can talk to him about that if that's even relevant going forward. So those are the comments. The application is found in the packet as well. I had to add a third date relative to the updated plat, and then you'll see that the fees have been paid for, and then the submitted subdivision update is found in the packet. So with that, I would defer to the Planning Commission if you have any other questions or comments for me and or the applicant group. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reggett. Discussion amongst the commission or a motion is in order.
I move that we approve the changes to the and to recommend to the City Council approval of the AFCU corporate campus subdivision property located approximately 4624 South, 1500 West, Riverdale, Utah 84405, was requested by America First Credit Union and AWA Engineering, with the addendum that all staff concerns be addressed at that time.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Michelle, would you pull the commission?
Commissioner Jones?
Aye.
Commissioner Nye?
Aye.
Commissioner Wingfield?
Aye.
Commissioner Herman?
Aye.
Commissioner Anderson?
Aye.
Motion passes. Action item 4, consideration to approve preliminary site plan for Shake Shack Riverdale, located at approximately 4142 South Riverdale Road, Riverdale, Utah 84405, as requested by Shake Shack and McNeil Engineering. Mr. Eggett.
Thank you. We have Mr. Ted Ditas here representing McNeil Engineering and Shake Shack's interest. He's present, so if you have questions, he'll be the gentleman that you'll want to direct that to. This is a preliminary site plan approval consideration, so the Planning Commission is a decision-making body here to establish a limited vesting right to the project to move forward. This is located in a community commercial zone on the old Farmers Insurance building lot site to the direct north of Raising Cane's, across that new private drive, Brands Way. Previously, the conditional use permit was approved by the Planning Commission back on April 26, 2022, and the ownership on the property is H&P Investments LLC, and they are aware of this. A public hearing is not required for the site plan approval, and the general plan for the site is planned commercial high. The project proposed project does comply with that land use at that location. Looking at some of the comments and in my review, I just noted that on the cover sheet, the property owner's name's not there on the cover sheet, just to add that. Same with the approving entity being the city. Some street names on the cover sheet, some existing easements are just not identified as clearly. Maybe I just didn't see it, which sometimes I do miss things, and then the engineers will make it more clear and point out and go, oh, there it is. So if I just missed it, that's okay too. Let's see. Signage, we don't know, and that may not be even Mr. Didas. That may be something that Shake Shack will have to provide some more signage information. Obviously, at a future date, we'll have to do the design review committee review anyway. Some of that signage information will likely be provided as part of that design review committee hearing prior to going to city council. So that is something that we'll vet out further in the near future. Height, size of the building, I didn't know the total square footage of the building footprint. Just a setback number, I didn't know what it was at the nearest point, but at the same time, it does more than exceed the minimum requirement. So probably I could take that from yellow and underline that. Berming, we do require gentle berming along roadways to protect and screen motorists. We do have a shrub row screening there, but even if it's a really gentle berming, even a 1% bump, just something I can show that there's some kind of berming there to break up the aesthetic of the landscaping to meet the code, that would be helpful. And a couple of pockets. Usually we see them kind of like, maybe 2 big berms or 3 big berms that kind of do this and undulate with some landscaping along them. So again, not even with a lot of slope, just to build up the ground a little bit. Location of stop sign on the site shown, not identified. And then size and type of the water meter isn't identified that I could see. Again, I may have just missed it. The gutter inlet boxes need to be identified as having bicycle safe grade somewhere, either in the detail drawing or on the plan set itself, and water rights will need to be worked through with the Public Works Department. So those are all my comments. Really not a lot. Typically, I do have more, it seems like, so that's a good thing. Going into the Public Works Director's comments, he has a couple of comments, 1 through 9. Pretty specific engineering comments. Mr. Dias, if you'll just read over those and look at those and work through those. I won't read each of them on the record, but they are in the packet if any planning commissioners have concerns. Same with water, 1 through 6 items. About the water services, water lines, backflow preventer, irrigation sprinkler system plan, water usage, those sorts of things, and then water shares. Sewer, 3 only quick items, proposed sewer flow, dailies and peak. Shown existing sewer mains and laterals and abandoned sewer lines will need to be capped. And then under other, a note that's pretty typical on the drawings talking about any missing, non-functioning, or damaged surface improvements will be replaced. And then he would like also dimensions and square footage of each lot and square footage of impervious surface for a lot. I think he's doing that to further calculate the water shares that will need to be provided for the property, or I guess water rights usage. Other than that, those are all his comments. Nothing from police or fire on the project. Going into the engineer, there's quite a few items and questions he has on the improvement drawings. More specific things, asking about demolitions. Let's see if there's anything else that's really jumps out at me. Probably it looks like just a lot of engineering things that he wants to discuss further with Mr. Didas and his design. Parking lot, several pavement slopes are below the minimum grade of 2%. These flatter slopes should be adjusted to avoid ice areas in the winter. Tying grades to ensure smooth tying without excessive grades. Again, irrigation, stormwater maintenance plan to be developed and included with improvement drawings. I think there was. I don't think he saw that because you did provide that. Now that I think about that. At any rate, we'll work through that. Some questions about service, questions about a Knox box, and then some angles, maximum angles for sanitary sewer piping. So again, a lot of engineering comments and review items, but not a lot of items considering what we have seen on other projects. So that's a good starting point for a preliminary review, in my opinion. That being said, you'll see the application thereafter, the fee being paid, and then the actual design drawings. Within the design drawings, you'll see the landscaping plan, the lighting design for the site, and finally the exterior architectural drawings for the site. So with that, a lot of new information, but hopefully it answers everything that you'd like to know, and I'll defer to the planning commissioners if you have any questions for me or Mr. Didas. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Agate. Do any commissioners have any questions?
Can I have him come forward and tell us about this business and what's going to take place? And we'd like to hear more about what.
Yep. Just say where you're from. You don't have to give your
Is this
address.
on?
Yeah, who you are and where you're from.
Hi, I'm Ted Didas with McNeil Engineering, 8610 Sandy Parkway, Sandy, Utah. So this is a proposed Shake Shack restaurant with a drive-through. I think you're probably familiar with Shake Shack restaurants. Are we not at all familiar? So they're primarily, they're started in New York years ago, originally on a street. Why am I blanking?
Like a hand cart or a street
Hand
vendor.
cart vendor.
Yeah.
That kind of blew into a restaurant. They're famous for hamburgers and shakes. That's kind of their main primary business. Thus the name. One of the questions we've got a few times in Utah, so they have two stores, at least two in Utah right now, one at Fashion Place Mall in Murray and one in Sandy on State Street at about 110th South. One of the questions we're getting with Shake Shack as they're proposing in a few of these locations is, why do they now have a drive-through on them? The two, if you've been to the one at Fashion Place or Sandy, did not have drive-throughs. That was kind of the traditional business, and their response thus far has been COVID changed everything for us. And so that's the nature of the drive-through. They still think, I don't remember what we have, like 40 stalls or something.
Yeah, it was like
Surface
40, about
stalls.
40, I think 42 or something. But yeah.
So they still expect a decent amount of people coming in as well, because some of the things do take a little bit longer on prep time and, specialty shakes and stuff. So that's kind of historically been the nature of their business, but it's evolving to more of a drive-through type of restaurant. Does that answer your question?
Will they still have places inside to sit too?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, they'll have tables inside, and they've got an outdoor patio that may not be depicted very well on the plan, but it's a fairly sizable outdoor patio for seating as well.
Yeah, they'll have 42 parking stalls, and then they'll have about a stacking of 23 cars. So that tells you what they anticipate.
Wow.
So kind of a fast casual type of restaurant.
Yes, yeah. I would say it's one that maybe doesn't focus quite as much on getting people through in 40 seconds or whatever the typical drive-through time they're targeting on it. It may be a little longer.
It's kind of like, how Habit, you wait in the drive-through a little longer for food, but they
that's a
cook
good
it fresh. It's like Habit, but maybe even a little nicer. I don't know if that's a fair word, but just a little more elevated than even Habit.
Thank you.
Thank you. A motion is in order.
I'll make a motion that we approve the preliminary site plan for Shake Shack Riverdale, located approximately 4142 South Riverdale Road, Riverdale, Utah 84405, with the expectation that the items noted by staff will be addressed when the final site plan comes.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Michelle, would you pull the commission?
Commissioner Anderson?
Aye.
Commissioner Herman?
Aye.
Commissioner Wingfield?
Aye.
Commissioner Nye?
Aye.
Commissioner Jones?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Just clarify. So the next step for this would be to come back for final site, would address this, resubmit, and get scheduled.
Yeah, resubmit 2 weeks before, come back for final recommendation review at the planning commission, and then it would be primed to go to city council for final approval consideration.
Pending final site plan approval from this commission.
Right. Yeah, so they'll do a recommendation approval if everything looks pretty good, right? And we could talk even more offline, give you a little more guidance. The only other thing that we'll need to do prior to going to city council would be that design review committee will be important to have done. And that's where we'll do architectural colors, materials, landscaping, irrigation plan, and signage. Those are the elements we look at for that.
Great.
Okay?
Thanks for your time.
Thanks. Yep. All right. Comments. Planning Commission. Anybody have any comments? If If not, city staff.
I just want to say thank you for entertaining me scrambling to get a commission commission tonight, a quorum. I got a little anxious there for a minute, so I do appreciate you being flexible and getting here and being here. I really do appreciate it. I know it's a busy time of the year. Like I said at the last meeting, Michelle and I are ditching town at your next meeting, so I hope you'll indulge us by not being here, not having a meeting. That's on us, but it's the 24th, so we're trying to take advantage of having a vacation day as part of our trip. So ironically, we're going to the same place. That's kind of, and it was not planned. It just
So where are you
was,
going?
We're both going to Oregon coast, and it was not planned at all. Almost the exact same area within the Oregon coast too. It's kind
Beautiful
of
this time of
ironic.
year. Northern or southern?
More the northern central area. Yeah.
You need to head up to Astoria and up that way.
Oh, that's fun.
I'm actually staying real close. I'll be staying just outside of it in the neighboring city. So,
Yeah.
And salmon fishing is wonderful there too.
so if you have any recommendations for Michelle and I of things to do too, we're open to ideas.
There's an old army fort up there that is the only place that an enemy shell actually hit land, on the continent in World War II.
Oh well,
Yeah, the shell didn't explode,
it came that way.
but it actually landed.
Hot air balloon.
I don't think so. I think it came off of a ship.
I thought it come off of a hot air
No, it's
balloon.
possible.
The Japanese put in the jet stream and it came over and
That's
dropped. It didn't
possible.
go off, and then some guys were up in the mountains and
East
found it
Stack
and
Rock.
exploded or
Yeah.
something.
Rooney's was filmed.
Well,
Yep, beautiful up there.
I've never been. My wife has, but yeah. What do you say, Michelle?
I was just saying, we'll be close to there. We'll be at Depot Bay.
Yeah.
Depot Bay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So he'll be like an hour north of me,
Mm-hmm.
half the time, and then an hour south.
Yeah. Yeah, we're in two different spots, and she'll stay in one central spot the whole time. So.
I guess the motion is in order for adjournment.
No, it's pretty up there.
Can I propose that we close this meeting?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Adjourned.
Thank you.